This year was such an anomaly based on like what people were predicting us. Not like from what we saw. We had talked about this in other times that we had met about how this team was really starting to show some being a special team last year in 2009 towards the end when they went on the run and in spring training. So just to reflect back on this, I think it's a special year. Even though they broke our hearts, we did win 90 games. Only 4 Padres teams in the history of the franchise have ever done that. Even though we're the first one not to make the playoffs with 90 wins out of those 4. Besides the point, they exceeded expectations.
By far.
Do you think that Bud Black deserves Manager of the Year?
I do. I absolutely do. I think, you know, based on the projections for this team at the beginning of the year, where they finish, I think, in my opinion, he's a slam dunk manager.
Okay, I 100% agree. He brought a team that was picked to finish last. We almost took it all the way to the end, so I think he did a fantastic job. Great to get him the extension.
You know, boy, the fun of a baseball season is it's every day. You know that from working in baseball.
Absolutely.
It's every day. One game ends, you put that behind you, you go on to the next day because there's another game. And I thought this Padre team kept our interest up from opening day until literally the last day of the regular season when the Giants salvaged the final game of that 3-2 series.
We had it all the way up to the end.
Think what Giant fans, how they would have reacted had the Padres won that game. And then there would have been a one-game playoff in San Diego to determine the
It would have been something, right?
Yeah.
And we threw it out. We had our ace out there. You never know.
I mean, we gave him a heck of a battle. I thought it was a fun season. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, I didn't like the final conclusion, but I loved it up until then.
Do you think this is a sign of things to come with the Padres, or is this what we're going to go back to rebuilding based on our salary, our salary restraints that we have, and being a small market team? Do you think this is a sign to come with the leadership, with the ownership, and with the players that we have, or is this something that's going to continue, or are we going to be taking a step backwards?
I honestly thought this was the first Padre team to be built for Petco Park. Had good pitching, good defense, and in my opinion, in Petco you have to have a center fielder to play defense. Now they had that in Tony Gwynn. Tony didn't hit enough. He's got to hit more if he's going to stay in the major leagues. But at least he gave you great defense in center field, and you absolutely have to have that.
Okay. Well, so you think this is a sign of things to come?
I think Bud Black can be a championship caliber manager. I thought he did a brilliant job this year. I think Jed Hoyer knows how to build a club. I thought he did a super job this season with what he had to work with. The Padres obviously need more offense.
It seems to be like
they're going to win that 91st game.
Right?
Need a
it's going to take 91,
offense.
right? Yeah, it seems to be the challenge as the Padres general manager is getting that offense in here. But, I agree with you. I agree this is a sign for things to come. They have great leadership. I think Hoyer did a fantastic job. Buddy Black did really good, deserves Manager of the Year. And we're going to give Giants and every team out there a run for their money come 2011.
It's hard to win. If you saw Bruce Bochy interviewed after the final game of the World Series, he admitted that it meant so much because it's so hard to get there. I mean, if it was just money that could get you into the World Series, the Chicago Cubs would have done it.
I know, right?
Before over a century ago. It was the last time they won it.
At least we're not Cubs fans. At least we're not Cubs fans.
It's hard. It's hard to win, and a lot of things have to go right for you. Who knows? This one little transaction may have been the difference, where all information indicates the Padres put in a bid, a claim on Cody Ross. But at that time in the standings, the Giants were lower, so they had a chance to claim him before the Padres. Now suppose the Padres had gotten Ross instead of the Giants. Would the whole scenario have been reversed based on what Cody Ross did?
Exactly.
We'll never know. But it's fun to speculate. That's part of the fun of baseball.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on expanding postseason? from either making the first round best of 7 instead of best of 5, or adding another wild card team?
I'm in favor of that first round being best 4 out of 7. I think you have a better chance of a legitimate team emerging. 3 out of 5, weak teams can win 3 in a row every now and then. I mean, the Padres, as a first-year expansion team, won their first 3 games, so it can happen.
Yeah, and look what happened after that.
Yeah, but, that's right. They ended up losing 110 games.
Wow.
In fact, and aside for a moment, Sparky Anderson, the recently departed Sparky, great baseball man, he was the Padres' third base coach that first year. And when the Padres won those first 3 games of the season in 1969, Sparky got a little carried away. And he said to Wally Moon, the hitting coach, "Wally, we might really be able to do something this year." And Wally said, "Sparky, are you nuts? We'll be lucky to win 50 games. Well, they won 52 and lost 110. The point being that any team can win 3 in a row. So I am in favor of that being 4 out of 7. Now, the idea of another wild card team, which would have been good for the Padres this year, by the way. They would have been one of the wild card teams. Is to make winning the division mean a little bit more. Because what you had in the American League East, is that the Yankees and the Red Sox both knew they were going to be in the playoffs. They just didn't know who was going to be the champ and who was going to be the wild card. But it wasn't that important. And so even though it was a heck of a race in the American League East, it didn't have the drama that it would have had. Now, if winning the division meant you could avoid 1 round of playoffs, then winning the division would be more important. So if you had 2 wild card teams, then whoever was the wild card team in the American League East, the Yankees or the Red Sox, they would have had to play another wild card team,
like a best of 3,
a best 2 out of 3, to play into the playoffs. And that would give the division champions more time to rest their pitching staff, to get their team, their lineup ready.
They just don't want to call it playoffs. They don't want November baseball. That's
true.
Right?
No, I absolutely agree with that. Yeah. If you're going to do that, you have to find a way to shorten the schedule. Teams aren't going to want to do that because they lose the revenue from those games, and not only the attendance but also television money. But you can't have the World Series going until Thanksgiving.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a tough decision, but either way, it looks like you're in favor of it. I like scenario 2, having a play-in best of 3 for the wild card team. That seems like it'd be a great idea.
So this year the Padres would have played the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah.
Best 2 out of 3.
It keeps more teams involved, more teams competitive, and keeps more fans involved across the board. So that might be the next step. So we'll see how it goes. So hopefully we will be back for like an off-season edition, maybe discuss some transactions by the Padres and some other things.
Maybe after the winter meetings.
Yeah, we'll do some after the winter meetings. Thank you again, Bob. It's been a great 2010. I think it's only going to get better.
It's my pleasure, and thank you guys for RJ's throw. This is great.
Thank you, Bob.
All right, we'll see you later. Adios.
We're gonna be